Head coach Sparky McEwen joining us after an amazing 31-17 victory against Saginaw Valley State, handing the Cardinals their first league loss of the season. Coach, for you guys, just some opening comments from you about your play today.
Well, we knew going in this was going to be extremely hard fought game. It's a GLIAC opponent. We know it was going to be physical, and it was every bit of that, And our guys came in. It was actually a little different for me because I want to say that I thought maybe they were just kind of flat, and uh, and then all of a sudden, Saginaw, when we made our entrance, I've never seen a team do what they did during our entrance, and it actually motivated us, and my team went to another level. So it's GLIAC football, it's physical, man, but I didn't feel like we needed help to get up for that game. But hats off to them for whoever made that call to get the boys riled up because they were pretty excited. I didn't know what was going on, and but besides that, I felt like it was a tough game on both sides of the ball. We emphasized turnovers all week. We knew we were playing against a very tough quarterback, and their trigger man, and as advertised, he's a beast. We know their defense. They make it tough on any opponent that they play, and they did just that. So, and then in the special teams, Ryan, we played extremely well in the special teams of late. Early in the year we had some things that didn't go our way, and it wasn't our whole entire special teams unit. It would just be a breakdown here or there. And we always talk about a chain is as strong as its weakest link, and all it takes is one player breaking down. And we felt like once again in all three phases of the game we were complete.
And it did start with special teams. You guys win the toss and defer, go on defense, force a 3-and-out, and then Dom Gaguric blocks the punt and recovers it in the end zone. What kind of momentum is that early on in a big game like this?
Well, it was huge. It was huge, and once again, I think it carried over with that entrance. The boys were still, pretty fired up, and we had one guy, Dom. You got to know Dom. He's a high IQ football player, and he did one heck of a job of, getting through there and making that big play, and then recovering it for a touchdown. You can't have a better start than that. And then that obviously got our fans into it, and then it was a trickle down effect. Our defense did a great job for probably the first 4 or 5 series. And then we obviously got the offense going. And then proud of my boys because they were able to hold on and have a complete game.
You talk about forcing 4 turnovers. You guys have been doing that all season, 3 interceptions and a fumble. Just talk about the defensive effort today. Again, 17 points, well below their season average.
They don't get a lot of credit. That group there. It's a grimy group. We're not the biggest, defensive line. They get after it pretty good, and they know we got to fight and scrap for everything that we do. And they're just hitting their stride at the right time. And obviously, two of the losses we have are to really two good programs in Tech and Truman by a total of 3 points. And both of those games, we had opportunities, to win the game. So it's one of these teams where, you sit back and you look at it and it's like, geez, what if? And now I can honestly say I feel like our team is starting to gel, at the right time because we have weapons pretty much in the secondary. We have weapons as receivers, punt returners, kick returners at the quarterback position, the running back, and then we got a gritty D line and linebackers, so it's a good group. They're going to play you for 4 quarters, and just a big win today. I'm very proud of my team.
Talk about some of those turnovers. None bigger than a Antonio Mays interception at the 5-yard line. Saginaw Valley was driving. You guys were up 14-7 at the time. They could have went in and tied it. You guys then turn around and get a field goal drive and go up 10 points. So how big of a pick is that for Mays?
It was huge. It was huge. You talk about another high football IQ guy and probably one of our more competitive football players. I'm so proud of Mays. He's come a long ways. He's doing things the right way, but he practices harder than anyone on our football team. This kid, he plays the game the right way. He plays with intensity. Plays with a lot of. He has a lot of fun out there. So I always tell people, man, you work hard, good things that happen for you, and he was at the right place at the right time.
You guys seem to get Clint Walker involved in the offense a little bit more, handing him the football off, kind of on end around plays. But he also had a big 4 yard touchdown catch, a little play action, slipped into the back of the end zone. So talk about involving him a little bit more in the offense and being that as part of the game plan this week.
He's one of the better tight ends in the region. Here's a guy now, he's starting to put up numbers. The last few weeks, we just weren't able to crack him free, early in the season, So, hats off to Coach Ruff and Dev of getting this guy involved. He's a very talented, guy. He can play receiver as well, So he's doing big things. He's a very important piece to our success here, in our offense, and we're going to need him a lot more as we move forward. But I'm proud of him. He's paid his dues, and he's one of those guys that puts his hard hat on, comes to work, man, doesn't say much, and at that tight end position, it's like a lineman. It's one of those deals where people forget about you, but he's starting to really pick it up now. He's starting to put up some numbers.
It was a difficult day for both teams passing the football, but you guys did have a couple connections between Keontae Nixon and Dewan Mathis. 3 catches for Nixon, 115 yards. Just talk about their connection today. It looked like a lot of maybe one-on-one coverage. You guys try to exploit that, kind of go with that long ball, kind of in the air. Keontae is so good at adjusting to that ball and pulling it down.
Yeah, you hit the nail right on the head. He does adjust well to the rock. And, here's a guy that's getting NFL attention, as a prospect. And when you throw the ball up his way, good things happen, and we're all seeing that. Dewan has developed a nice relationship with him, and Keontae, I tell you, just put it up. And a lot of times it's just that we're just putting it up in the area. And hats off to Dewan for seeing that and having trust in him to do that. And he bailed us out a few times. Keontae did today because the Cardinals, once again, man, that's a tough group, man. Their defense, that defensive coordinator that they have over there, he's been doing a tremendous job. That was a good get for Brady and the Cardinals. And so we knew it was going to be tough sledding for us here today, but today was our day. Today was our day, and our boys, they stood, tall, in the midst of, adversity. And we needed that just so we could keep pace, with the conference. We talk about that all the time. Is keeping pace with this conference and being a notable in the GLIAC. And we wear that with pride because we feel like the GLIAC is the toughest conference in football. And right now we're just all beating each other up. You got the one big dog that's out there still doing their thing, but all the other teams are just smacking each other around, and we're just a part of it.
You guys moved to 5-3 overall and 4-2 in the league. You guys can finish with another winning season with a victory next week at Northern Michigan. So good luck.
Thank you. Go Panthers.